In this video, I'll be giving you the easiest guide to completing the Reckoning Easter egg in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies. Before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more Black Ops 6 Zombies content, as we'll be covering everything Reckoning here over the next few days. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. So of course, the first step, much like every single Zombies Easter egg ever, is to turn on the power and activate Pack-a-Punch. Now most of the power is going to be activated, but all you have to do is follow the on-screen indicators all the way up to the top of the towers, where you'll be able to turn on the particle accelerator and then cleanse the ether crystals in order to restore full power to the building. The next thing we're going to go over is how to acquire and upgrade Gorgofex. You only need to acquire Gorgofex and upgrade it one time, so you don't have to do both of these. In fact, I'm not even sure if you can do both of these in the same game unless you get another one out of the mystery box. So for the sake of this video and for the sake of your Easter egg hunt, just get Gorgofex here and then follow one of the two paths in order to get it to one of the two upgrades, and then you'll be able to move on to the actual step of the Easter egg. So we'll catch back up after the Gorgofex upgrades. Obviously, the first step to upgrading Gorgofex is to get the base version of Gorgofex himself. If you already know how to do this, you can skip past this. There'll be timestamps in the description below. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up the map and activate Pack-a-Punch. You have to get to the top of the second tower, activate the particle accelerator, and then you should be able to start the Gorgofex upgrade. But Pack-a-Punch is for sure the first step. Once you've got Pack-a-Punch opened, return to the T1 Mutant Research Lab to find two flashing computers. One is behind Richtofen's family, and the other is to the left of Deadshot. Each of these computers displays a unique word flashing in green text. In my game, the words were bellicose and pejorative. What you're going to want to do is combine the first letters of both of these words to form an element found on the periodic table. So again, in my game, I had bellicose and pejorative, which gives you BP, but BP is not an element on the periodic table. PB, however, is. So again, bellicose and pejorative will give you PB, which is an element on the periodic table. So once you know what element you have to then look at the periodic table to figure out its elemental atomic number, which PB for me, again, it's different in every game, but mine was 82. Next, you're going to want to add a 0 to the beginning of that number to create a 3-digit code. So once again, last time, just to be clear here, the words in my game were bellicose and pejorative, which gave me the element PB, which had an elemental number of 82. It sounds really tough, but guys, trust me, it's not. Once you figure it out and once you do this one time, you're going to have no problem doing this in the future. But again, the goal here is to create a 3-digit code. So if you don't have a triple-digit element, all you have to do is add a 0 to the beginning. Now, once you have that 3-digit code, take it to the top of the laboratory and use it to open up the locked door to this secret lab. Once you've gotten into the locked laboratory, every so often, weakening a zombie will cause a vermin to spawn from that zombie. Once a vermin spawns on the map, you must lead it over to the test tube, weaken it, and you'll see it'll be sucked up into a portal right in front of the test tube. Repeat this with 2 more vermin, and after all 3 vermin have been sucked up, repeat this same exact step again with 3 zombies. So again, once you kill the 3 vermin, it'll be sucked up into a portal, then kill 3 zombies, those will be sucked up into the portal, and then from there you can actually pick up the cyst that's inside of the test tube. Next, head to the Quantum Computing Lab and allow the cyst to suck the etheric floral health from 3 specific ether trees inside of this area. They're all within this very area, so all you have to do is walk around. You'll know you're at a tree when you pull out the cyst itself and it starts sucking up the yellow plants. All you have to do is suck all of the energy out of that individual tree, move on to the next one, repeat this for 3 total trees, and after you have all 3, you'll notice that the cyst has actually been evolved in your inventory. Again, once you've got all 3 trees completely sucked up, head up to the T2 Dark Entity Containment Room for one of the best Easter egg steps of all time. Once you're inside the T2 Dark Entity Containment Room, aka the Forsaken Room, there's going to be 4 different computers you have to interact with to activate a power surge, but every time you activate a computer, you have limited time to activate the next one. This is super easy to do. They're all on the main floor. All you have to do is activate one and then run around and hit the other 3. But once you hit all 4 in short succession, electricity will shoot into the Forsaken containment ball, which will spawn an Uber Klaus. You then have to take out each of the shoulder pads of the Uber Klaus and lead him onto the pressure plate pad in front of the Forsaken. The Uber Klaus will stand there, become electrocuted, and eventually possessed by the Forsaken and become an HVT that you then have to take out. The HVT isn't too difficult, but it's super sick to see the Forsaken get merged with an Uber Klaus. And once you kill the Forsaken, it'll drop blood that you then have to interact with to fuse the crystal with. When you combine the blood and the cyst, Gorgofex will be spawned in front of you to pick up. Guys, this is easily one of the coolest lore moments in COD Zombies history, seeing this Forsaken be sucked up by an Uber Klaus, which turns into a wonder weapon. Now that you've gotten Gorgofex, it's time to upgrade him to Gorgofex N. Make your way up to the executive suites and interact with this door to talk to Blanchard. He'll instruct you to go find some goodies around the map, and you're going to want to head down to the quantum computing lab to pick up the Strauss counter, which will be on the big ether reactor in the middle of the room. Next, make your way to the android assembly, looking for the area with the high ether reactor energy. If you make your way over to the elevator, you should be able to find this in the barricade to your right. Once you find this area and you can see the Strauss counter going crazy, use a charged Gorgofex shot at the box inside of this room to obtain the vial. Next, return to the previously locked keypad room where you got the cyst originally and collect the clean hood, which is in the back left corner of the room right where there's a down scientist. All you have to do is just pick it up and it'll be in your quest items. Now, there's a few more items you're going to have to pick up. The first is a PC fan, which is in the back of the Forsaken room. It's located to the left of the Arsenal station. There's also a wire and tubing you'll have to pick up outside of the quantum computer area. This is by the back corner of the map. And with all of those items collected, return to Blanchard's door and assemble the device. Once the device is assembled, insert the vial to the device, and you'll have a 1.5-minute lockdown, which is actually pretty tough, especially if you're in a higher round, so definitely be braced for this. I don't know how it is on lower rounds, but I did this in the mid-20s. It was definitely pretty tough at the beginning. Hopefully you have a field upgrade ready to go. Hopefully you have some decoys. This will take a bit of time to get done, but it's a little challenging, so make sure you're ready to go for this one. As soon as the lockdown's over, Blanchard's life force will be sucked into the device where you'll be able to pick that up and return back to the original locked door where you first picked up the cyst. You can then craft the Gorgofex N, which is the explosive, toxic version of the Gorgofex. It's pretty good. I'm hoping the other one's a little bit better because this one's a little bit weak, but that's how you get Gorgofex N, guys. We're on to the blue version of Gorgofex. The first step is going to be interacting with Blanchard up at the top suites. All you have to do is interact with the door, and then you'll be able to start the next step. Next, return all the way back down to the T1 Project Janus reception area and interact with the red button in the computer room. If this is locked for you, you have to talk to Blanchard before you complete this. Next, you'll notice the room will turn red and one of the elevators will turn off after you defend a friendly Klaus unit who's in the lobby typing on a computer. All you have to do is just sit there and kind of outlast the zombies, defend the Klaus, and then one of the elevators will turn off. Next, make your way up the opposite elevator all the way to where you would drop down from the elevator that's off. I know it sounds a little bit confusing. You can just go up the other elevator and then make your way over to the other side of the tower where you can jump down this elevator that's turned off. As you're jumping down it with the parachute, go ahead and activate all 3 red buttons on your way down. Super simple. Once you have all 3 of those turning green, you can then travel to the T1 Quantum Computing Core and shoot the blue zombies with Gorgofex. They're kind of like electrical zombies. They won't be like blasting electricity, but you'll notice them. They're blue zombies. All you have to do is shoot them with Gorgofex, and after you kill a bunch of these, all of the orbs will float around to the main computer in the room, and once all of the orbs are there, you can then see Dr. Panos appearing in the middle of the room. In order to finish off this upgrade, all you have to do is interact with Panos. It's really not that hard at all. You just interact with them. Gorgofex will float up in the middle of the room, and then it'll suck up Panos' soul, and then after that, you can just upgrade it to Gorgofex C. Not very hard there whatsoever. Moving on to our first main step of the Easter egg, we're going to be opening up the portal room. We already covered this in the Gorgofex section, but I'm going to reiterate it here just in case any of these steps aren't working for you. As soon as you get the power on, a Genesis zombie will spawn in the mutant research lab. What you want to do is kill this zombie to get the key card, which will open the cabinet to retrieve the DNA files near Richtofen's family. All you got to do is just pick those up. The next thing you're going to want to do is locate this syringe, which is in the mutant research area. It's near the crafting table to the right of the mangler cage. Inside the test tube, all you have to do is interact with this little crate. It'll open up and you'll be able to pick it up and then move on to the next step. The next step of the Easter egg is going to require you to jump up into the particle accelerator, and if you jump from one specific side, the one that I jump up from, it'll suck you into the particle accelerator and you'll be traveling across it. All you have to do is aim the blue electricity you can see at the front of your character at the floating zombie here. Now, it's easiest if you wait until the zombie's on the one side that you jump from. All you have to do is jump into it. It'll knock the zombie off of the particle accelerator and onto the floor where you'll be able to interact with the zombie, sucking up its blood with the syringe that you picked up in the last step. Once you do have that blood sample, though, go back to the mangler test tube where you initially picked it up and interact with the computer. After a little bit of dialogue, he will now attack you. All you have to do is kill him to get the special infected mutant injection. Once you have the mutant injection, go on up to the Forsaken room, and on the second floor, there will be a retina scanner. You want to basically just activate the mutant injection, use the retina scanner, and then you'll be able to reveal a new teleporter that will take you to a secret Project Janus teleportation room. Moving on to the next portion of the video, we're going to be building Franken Klaus and doing a Franken Klaus defense step. For the majority of these different parts, it's really not that hard. You can get these at any point during the Easter egg up to this point, but for the sake of keeping the video linear, we're gonna start covering them here. But again, you can grab some of these parts just basically as you're traversing the map. So the first thing you're gonna need to do is get both of the arms. The first arm will fall off of one of the random Commando Klauses on the first Commando Klaus wave. You don't really have to shoot the arm, it'll just like fall off of one of the random ones. And then the second arm is actually on the second wave of Commando Klauses. You can't get them both in the first round. You have to wait for the second round in order to get that second arm. But those are how you get the two arms for the Klaus. And then you'll have to collect the legs. Now the Klaus legs are in the assembly production line. There are 4 different spawn locations, but only 2 of the legs will spawn during your game. The first one is behind the TV, as you guys can see on screen here. The second is on top of this cabinet. The third one is the bottom of this broken box in front of the elevator location. And then the fourth one is underneath this employees only closet. This is right in front of where you actually build the Klaus. So those are the 4 locations. Only 2 of the legs will spawn in one of those 4 locations. Next, you're going to want to put all of the pieces on this Klaus that's on the wall directly in front of where you may have just picked up that last leg, and now wait until Uber Klaus spawns. In order to get this Klaus to come alive, though, you have to lure Uber Klaus in front of him and have him shoot the electrical attack at him. It's not as easy as just letting him run by you and swipe at you. You basically have to get him to shoot his electricity at Klaus to make him come alive, and then you can just kill off Uber Klaus after that. Next, Klaus is going to type on this computer right in front of him for a little bit of time. I think progressing around is the best way to go about this, but it might also just be on like a 60-second timer before he moves on to the next computer. But either way, maybe progress around. Franken Klaus will then fly over towards the elevator. You kind of want to escort him there, otherwise he'll just be standing in the middle of the room. You'll go up the elevator up to the Forsaken room, and underneath the Forsaken ball area, there will be a SAM trial that he'll go up to and start typing on that you'll have to then activate. Now this will spawn in solo and co-op. It's basically just going to scale depending upon how many people are in your game, but it's a lockdown defense where you're just killing zombies in a certain amount of time. I don't really know what happens if you fail the SAM trial. I guess you just start over the next round, but I haven't failed it yet, so try not to fail it. If you do, it'll probably just go ahead and start it again next round. You'll be able to pick up from there. Now, this has actually glitched out for me. If you're in solo and he's just floating there and there's no SAM trial, save and quit when you spawn back in. You should be good to go. It'll fix it, but hopefully you don't have that happen to you in co-op. It's only happened to me in solo, so if you are missing like the SAM trial, just save and quit. You'll be good to go once you get back up there. But once you do complete the lockdown successfully, you'll get a reward crate. Nothing really comes of that, but he'll then travel up the stairs at the top of the Forsaken room through the portal and then start typing onto their computer. Once Klaus is typing on the computer, you're going to want to make your way all the way back down to the computer room where it's infested with the dark ether plants, and you melee this little box to reveal a dark ether brain. You're going to want to pick up the brain and then quickly take it back to where Klaus is working in the teleporter room and place it on the chamber right next to him. You have a limited time to do this, so make it back as fast as you can, because if you do fail, you have to progress around and then try again. But once the brain is placed, the facility power will then go offline once again, and you'll need to find a 4-digit code in order to reboot the facility by inputting that 4-digit code into the computer on the left side of the teleporter room. So in order to find these number codes, there's going to be 4 different documents that spawn in one of 3 different areas around the map. The first is in the T1 Executive Suite, the second is in the Director's Office, and the third one is in the teleporter room that you just were at with the computer. Basically, each of these documents have a date on them and a corresponding number. The document number is going to be in the top left corner, and then the date is going to be in the bottom middle. What you're looking to do is find the 4 different documents that are in your game. They will change every single game, and they'll be in random locations in these different areas. But you're going to want to find the 4 documents in your game, look at the date, and then put them into order based on the date, right? So up on screen now, I'll show you guys a little cheat sheet that we've made to show you what exactly the date is and its corresponding number. So let's say in your game you have the dog collar, you have Monty's scarf, you have the wristwatch and the combat goggles. What you're going to want to do is look at this chart that I have on screen right now, and then the little number on the side of it is actually the number order that you're going to want to place these in. So again, look at your 4 items, look at the dates, and then look at the numbers on the side of them and put them into order. So for example, again, if you have the access badge, Not-So's dog collar, Monty's scarf, and the wristwatch, you're basically going to be looking at the dates to see which one came first, which one came last. We've already done that for you, but you'd put in the Sam's access badge as your first number 1 code with the number 6 there, because that's what the document is labeled. Not-So's dog collar would be number 2 because it's the second earliest date here with its corresponding 1. do it for number 3 and 4 as well, and then you'll be able to put that 4-digit code into the computer there. If you guys have any questions, look in the comments below. I'll try and explain it a little bit better, but really you're just looking for the 4 individual documents and their corresponding number in the top left, and then inputting the codes based on what date they were originally discovered on. It's really not that hard. It's kind of tough to explain, but again, just use the cheat sheet here and you guys should be good to go. Once you do put all 4 of the codes into the computer, the system will reboot, and you'll have to go back to the particle accelerator room and activate it. Now, once it's activated, you're going to have to kill as many zombies as you possibly can inside the particle accelerator room. There's also going to be these ether vermin that'll spawn around here. You'll need to take those out with Gorgofex. I don't think you really have to kill these in order to charge this up. I just think that they're invincible to normal weapons, and to get rid of them so that they're not either evolving to doppelganger or just shooting at you and spitting acid at you, you want to get rid of them as quickly as you can. But you got about 35 to 40 seconds to kill as many zombies as you possibly can. If you're successful in charging up the zombies, you can then go up to where you started this little trial and interact with the energy ball that's spawned there. If it doesn't let you interact with it, then you'll have to progress around and then keep killing zombies until the orb is big enough for you to interact with it. But take out your Gorgofex, charge it up with the energy ball, and then head back down to the portal room. Once you've got the charged Gorgofex, shoot the portal, and the charged Gorgofex shot will actually allow you to activate the portal, and then you can go through it. Now, it won't take you anywhere. It'll just launch you back towards the spawn building. You'll float down with a parachute. But if you did that, and you're actually able to teleport through this, then you've made it successfully there. The next step is going to require you to find a head and cleanse it. Now, the head can be found in the top right corner of the computer room. Just look on screen where I'm shooting here. All you want to do is charge Gorgofex and shoot it up there. The head will fall down and you'll be able to pick it up. Once you have the head in your inventory, take it to the android assembly where you built Franken Klaus. You then have to melee this mop bucket that's always going to be in this corner underneath one of the sprinklers in the sprinkler system. If you've got the bucket underneath the sprinklers, look outside of this barricade and throw an explosive up at the smoke detector. This will cause the sprinkler system to go off, and you'll need to dip the head in the water bucket after the water has been filled up, and then pick it back up after like literally 2 seconds. You just put the head down in the bucket and pick it back up. If you can't put the head down in the bucket, you're not doing something right. It's not underneath the detector. All you have to do is just push it underneath where the sprinkler comes down, and you'll know right away. You place it down, pick it back up, and you're good to go. Once you pick the head back up, it'll be attached to your waist, and purple zombies will begin to spawn around you. There's a ton of these. You want to kill as many as you can. There'll also be like a ghost that appears every once in a while in front of you. If you run into it, you'll take a little bit of damage. That won't really kill you. It's really just to stop you if you're getting chased by zombies. But kill as many zombies as you possibly can, especially the purple ones. Eventually, after enough time, you'll have the head charged up. I don't know how many zombies it takes. Just keep killing zombies until you don't see that purple mist anymore, and then make your way back to the teleporter room. Once you're inside of the teleporter room and you have a charged up head, you can then place it on the left side of the portal. Don't worry, guys, we're almost done with the Easter egg. Trust me, I know it seems like this is very convoluted, but once you do this one time, it's really not at all. But the next step of the Easter egg is to play basically Pokemon with Kazmir grenades. So once you actually have the head on the teleporter, this will cause a few Project Janus boxes around the map that were previously locked to unlock, and they'll have these Kazmir canisters inside of them. There's one inside of the teleporter room, there's one inside of the Forsaken room, one in spawn, and another in the assembly room. There might be a few more, but those are the main 4 that you're really going to want to use. Now, once you pick up a Kazmir grenade, you then have to throw it at one of the random objects that are bouncing around all of the POIs on the map. There's like 10 of these objects. I think most of them, at least for me, have been up in the suite and Richtofen's office. All you have to do, like I said, is just find these objects. Once you have a canister in your hand, go ahead and shoot one of the bouncing objects with Gorgofex to make him slow down like the fire-based Z-step. Throw the Kazmir at him and it'll suck it up and capture it. You can just pick it back up and it'll go into your quest inventory. You now have to repeat this 3 more times. Like I said, just pick up one of these Kazmirs from any of those boxes around the map, find another one of those purple objects, doesn't matter which one you find, just find it, shoot it with Gorgofex to slow it down, throw the Kazmir at it, it'll be sucked up. And once you have 4 items collected, and you can check this in your quest item to make sure that you have all 4 in the top right, you want to make your way back to the teleporter room. Once you're in the teleporter room, you can then place all 4 of these Kazmirs down inside of the mainframe. Now, this is the last step before you go into the boss fight. After the Kazmirs are down, you'll then have to defend. You'll basically have to hold out inside of the chamber mechanism, and zombies will begin to pour out of the portal and from around you. You basically just want to keep killing different zombies around this room and monitoring buttons that are on the walls. Once you see one light up red, go ahead and activate it, and then it'll turn green. keep moving, keep killing zombies. Another one will light up red, then you can activate it and turn it green. Do that 2 more times, and once you have all 4 of those buttons around the portal room activated green, the zombies will stop spawning. You'll be able to take a little bit of a breath. Now, this is the point of no return. Basically, you want to get stocked up here. The boss fights in this game, spoiler alert, there's 2 of them, are very, very tough. Both of them take a long time to get through. I don't think anyone's really found a good way or a cheesy weapon or method to get through these. I don't think there's like one, oh, you get like 2 phases on these bosses. It's going to be pretty tough. You want to lock in for these. Get as much as you can. Get like, you know, your Wonder Weapon Pack-a-Punch. Get your normal assault rifle or shotgun Pack-a-Punch. Get whatever you can. Make sure you got your perks. Make sure you got your armor. Get some gobble gums. Like, these are going to be long boss fights you got to get ready for. But once you are ready to go ahead and activate the portal, and you'll be teleported into a giant lift in the 3rd tower. Now, once you walk up into the middle of the room, you'll notice the Sentinel artifact sitting there, and it'll ask you to choose which side you want to fight. So I'm going to go over both of these boss fights really quickly, what happens here. But the commonality in both of these, no matter which side you choose, the lift will begin to fly up into the sky. It'll stop about a quarter of the way, and you'll have to get out. And on the first floor that you stop at, there will be these LTG soul boxes on the wall. In co-op, there's 3 of them. In solo, I'm assuming there's still going to be 3 of them, but you just want to get kills next to these. Once you charge up all 3, you can get back on the lift, and then it'll begin to traverse up the tower again. You'll stop about another halfway from the top there, and there'll be these like ether crystals around the next room that you're at. You just want to blow up all of these and then get back in the lift. If you get back in the lift and you think you've killed them all, there's probably still one lurking around the map. They're kind of tough to spot in some certain situations, but once you rid that 2nd floor of all the crystals, the lift will then take you up to the boss fight. Now, depending upon which boss fight you actually decided to do, that's the boss you're going to end up fighting. If you chose to protect Sam and fight for her, you're going to be going up against a mech Richtofen, and if you chose to protect Richtofen and fight alongside him, you'll be going up against the Sam AI. Now, I'm not going to cover these too extensively here. I'm just going to go over their basic attacks, how you damage them. I'm going to be doing a separate video where I'll be going through like a solo guide and like a more in-depth detailed boss fight to figure out some of the best weapons to use against these guys, but I will go over some basic information here just so that you have like some prep to go into these boss fights so you're not completely in the blind and get absolutely smoked, because like I said, these are very, very tough. So if you chose Sam's side, you're going to be going up against Richtofen. This is basically a giant Uber Klaus Richtofen that you're going to have to run around the room here and kill. He is very aggressive. He has the same attacks as the original Mecha Klaus, except he can also jump into the sky and grab slam you. He's very lethal, very dangerous. Do not get close to him. The way you damage him is basically take down both of his shoulder pads and then aim for his head and his core after that. Obviously, if you have damage numbers on, it's really easy to see what you're doing. So these guys, especially Richtofen, is very spongy. He's very tanky. You just want to keep chipping away. There are immune phases for him. You got to be really, really careful where he'll go away, and you'll kind of have to kill some zombies. Like it's not necessarily the hardest boss fight of all time, but you're gonna struggle trying to get through this guy. Like, these are like 20-minute boss fights, even with, you know, field upgrades, even with score streaks. Like, you really gotta lock in here because this guy is lethal. He'll take you down very quickly. Now, once you break the initial mech suit, you think you're done. Richtofen's laying on the ground. No, he gets up, and he's basically just like a Commando Klaus, except he's got a Wonder Waff, too. This is even more deadly than the first stage. You really have to be careful here, man, because he will dive bomb you. He'll fly around the map. He's basically Iron Man with a Wonder Waff. You got to be careful. He's very lethal, like I said. You basically just want to keep running around and keep trying to chip away damage on him. I mean, best case scenario, you know, you bring in like an insta-kill Gobblegum or a Raindrops or something, and then use Ether Shroud, and you can kind of shoot him unimpeded. But if you stand still for too long and shoot you with the Wonder Waff, he's dropping blast traps. He's throwing shock charges down. Really, really hard boss fight. I'd say Richtofen's definitely the harder of the two. I don't want to go into too much detail here again because this video is getting on, 20 minutes here at this point, 25 minutes. I don't want to make this a super long guide. However, I will be releasing a more in-depth boss fight tutorial here later on in the night or tomorrow. But once you get through both Richtofens, the Richtofen ending will play. The very ending is like the canon ending, I guess. It happens for either side, but there will be like a little cutscene depending upon if you chose Richtofen's side. Now, moving on to the Sam AI, this one doesn't have two stages like Richtofen. However, I'd say this is definitely the easier of the two boss fights. Richtofen's definitely the hardcore mode. Sam's definitely still pretty hard, but it's not as bad as Richtofen. She has 3 main stages. In between the stages, you'll be doing trials where you can gain a free perk back in case you get one shot, because she does have the one-shot attack. Basically, her main attacks are going to be spinning around the room and shooting down the same shots that Mecha Richtofen has or Uber Richtofen has. where you're shooting down those like ether trap things on the floor. You got to be careful of those. She'll also kind of like randomly go up in the air and then throw down electricity. When that happens, you want to jump up on top of the boxes. It's not guaranteed that it'll protect you, but just watch out for where she's throwing them and you should be okay. And then the really, really tough one is she has like a electric trap. She has like a red laser beam trap, just like how she had on the Shattered Veil map, where if you were to do the side Easter egg to turn her into a trap, it's the same thing there, where it just launches this laser down at you. It will one tap you if you're not careful, so you do have to be really, really, really careful here. But as soon as she stops there, if you Ether Shroud or you have a minute, she'll become vulnerable, where you'll be able to damage her on the red spots on her actual body. Keep shooting at those. After you break enough of them, then the actual laser itself will become damaged and she'll fly up into the sky. You'll have a lockdown trial for the first step. She'll come back. You do the same thing. There's not really any like different attacks she has in stages 2 and 3. She's just very bullet spongy too, just like Richtofen. I don't think there's any way to like one phase this boss as of right now, or that nobody's found. There's no like super OP way to beat these two boss fights. You just have to stick it out. They're very time consuming. Do not go into the boss fight if you have to pee, man. Like definitely get ready for a 15, 20, 25 minute stretch, because they are very lengthy boss fights, especially in co-op. And I don't want to go over too much against the bosses because there is a lot of dialogue going on. I don't want to spoil too much about the ending either. So that's going to be it for this video. But like I said, guys, there was a lot of information there. It seems like it's a really crazy egg. It might be, but hopefully I've broken it down in an easy way for you guys to understand. If you did find this video enjoyable and easy to follow, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Black Ops 6 Zombies content. Hope you all enjoy. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.